Welcome to another of our video tours here at the Lake Superior Railroad Museum at the closed St. Louis County Depot in downtown Duluth. We're closed, but we're coming to you with these tours, and we promised you when we started this that we'd take you and show you things that are behind the scenes that aren't even open when we are open. We were told we could do that except for this one particular car. The curator said we couldn't go in it, but he's not here today. Come on aboard. Welcome aboard St. Paul and Pacific Coach Baggage Car number 1. It was half coach, half baggage car, and it was built in 1862 by Haskell and Baker in Bay City, Michigan for the St. Paul and Pacific Railway, a predecessor to the Great Northern. It was owned by James J. Hill at the time and was beginning to build his West Coast expansion. We're in the passenger portion of the car right now. It had 18 seats, and this was heated by a wood stove. Very interesting because this car had 2 wood stoves, one for the baggage compartment and one for the passengers as well. Normally a coach would have just one heater in it, either wood or coal. Wood in the old days, coal later on, and that had to heat the entire car, which meant that if you sat next to the heater, you were too hot. If you sat away from it, you were probably too cold, so you needed to be right in the middle to be just right. In the summer, of course, there was no air conditioning, so you opened the windows on the coach, and that was another hassle because all the dirt, the smoke, and the grime, and the soot and cinders all flew in on you. It wasn't really a good time to be a railroad passenger, winter or summer. 18 people sat here. They shared one particular bathroom, and the bathroom is right in here. It's old school, which means no retention tank, no treatment of the effluent, except, as you know the rule, don't flush when you're in the station. The other interesting thing about the car is this cord. This cord ran from car to car to car and was connected ultimately to a bell on the roof of the cab. Remember, this is before radios, before even wireless wired communication, and you couldn't scream from one end of the train to the other. So for the conductor to let the engineer know when to go or when to stop, he just pulled this cord and it rang a bell in the cab, and that was the signal to the engineer to go or stop. On the wall of the car, you'll see this interesting device. It was a candle holder for light. And of course that metal on the top was to protect the wood on the ceiling from catching fire from the flame on the candle. As you can see, we use a lot of the space in here for storage. This is overflow from our China car collection. It's just a convenient spot to keep stuff in, and you know, it's just like a closet at your house. It just kind of fills up and fills up. But that's kind of fitting because half of this car, after all, is a baggage car meant for carrying baggage. So let's go take a look at that right now. This would be the baggage compartment, and in here you'd find all sorts of things, mostly the stuff the passengers had brought on. You know, well, their luggage, their trunks, their coats, their things that they were going to take with them on their trip. Also things to be dropped off along the way at different stations. It wasn't a whole compartment of baggage, just a little bit, about half of the car. And you'd find everything in here like goats. Well, yeah, you would find a goat in here, and it's kind of interesting that we have 2 of them. Let me tell you that story. Nike has its swoosh. Amazon, its smile. The Great Northern Railway, its goat. And let me tell you about it. In 1908, through the work of Louis W. Hill on behalf of his father, he got the United States government to declare a large portion of Montana to be Glacier National Park. And right away, the railway started promoting it because it was right along the tracks of the Great Northern Railway. And they built stations, the east and west side of the park. Well, they started promoting that route as the route to the national park. So they needed to differentiate the fact that they were going to Glacier National Park. And in 1921, that's where a guy by the name of William Kenny came up with a great idea. He was vice president of the Great Northern, and he ran into Louis W. Hill's office and he said, "You know what, boss? I got this great idea. What do we know are in the park out there in Glacier? In abundance. Mountain goats. Where do we go through on our trains? The mountains. We'll have a mountain goat as a symbol, the logo of the Great Northern Railway." And the goat was going to be the symbol of all that. It was going to be in the logo of the railroad. It was going to be their swoosh, their smile, their logo, their trademark. Well, there was a problem. You see this thing here? It's not really a goat. It's a member of the antelope family. It just happens to look like a goat because of the whiskers and the face, but it's really an antelope. But that didn't seem to matter. Over the years, the goat transformed into many different portions of the logo. It one time was facing you, another time it was a side profile, but it was always the goat. It didn't have a name until 1955, when all of a sudden a new thing had come along: television. And the Great Northern wanted to advertise on TV. And they ran a series of animated television spots that included the goat. And the goat got a name in 1955 and has been Rocky ever since. At one time, one of these stuffed goats was in every station all the way along the Great Northern Empire route, all the way out to the West Coast. That's a lot of goats. Luckily, there were a lot of goats to be had. These stuffed animals are here in the collection of the Lake Superior Railroad Museum to remind us of a marketing tool that made the Great Northern the great railroad it was. Thanks for being with us. We'll have another new episode tomorrow. We hope you'll join us for that. One way you can make sure you get the updated versions is to like these videos. Then, of course, share these videos with others, and you can get the whole Mishigash for binge watching at duluthtrains.com/video tours. In the meantime, all together with me, wash your hands, cover your cough, don't touch your face, keep that social distance. If you're sick, stay home. And as Rocky says, let's take care of each other.